Today we're starting, we have the last day of the teachings, and Rinpoche started by making some comments, correcting slightly the recitation. In the beginning, we have a recitation which is praise to Mahakala, and there was a slight mispronunciation of the verse that says, should say, in his right hand, he's holding a curved knife. Anyway, it doesn't really affect the English recitation. It was for the Tibetan recitation. So it describes the hand implement on the right hand of the deity. Okay, then when we do the recitation of the mandala offering, you must be aware that there are two variations of this. In one variation, we say, I offer this as a Buddha field, or you can say, I offer this to the Buddha field. And this has different meaning. If you say, I offer this as a Buddha field, you mean, the meaning of that is that I'm making this mandala offering because I'm aspiring for myself to obtain the state of Buddhahood. So whatever I have here, I offer it so that I can reach that state of Buddhahood, right? So I offer all this to Buddha and my guru and my main guru and so forth. The other meaning and the other variation of the presentation is I offer this to the Buddha field. So in this case, in the second case, you say whatever I have here, whatever I visualize, I offer to that Buddha field. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we're about to begin the teachings here, and it's very important both for the teacher but also for the audience to make sure that we engage in this activity influenced by the mind of bodhicitta. This should be the correct motivation. If this is the case, then any activity that we engage becomes a virtuous activity. The Dharma that we practice becomes Mahayana practice, and the activity becomes very meaningful. If we do not engage with this bodhicitta motivation, if we just engage in this activity with a self-centered activity, all these benefits are lost. So it does not become the Mahayana, it does not become greatly meaningful, and so forth. Therefore, Rinpoche says, I urge you, whatever activity you engage in, it could be that you're making a few prostrations, it could be that you recite Om Mani Padme Hum, or you recite some other mantra, or you do some practice. Whatever of those things you do, make sure you do them with the right motivation, influenced by the mind of bodhicitta. So Rinpoche started by explaining the meaning of the basic recitation that we say, and the meaning that we say, may I generate the mind of bodhicitta and may I reach enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings, and so forth. So what we want to do here is we're looking at the final qualities for the purpose of others. So when we talk about the final qualities, we talk about the state of non-abiding nirvana. Basically, we say that we want to lead all sentient beings to the state of non-abiding nirvana. But before we are capable of reaching that particular state, it is imperative that we ourselves have to reach the state of highest enlightenment. Right. So in reality, what we say is, I need to reach a state of enlightenment in order to lead all other sentient beings into the state of non-abiding nirvana. So this is the mind generation, okay, the mind of the two aspirations. So in terms of mind generation, we know that we have three types. The first one is the king-like mind generation, the king-like bodhicitta. The second one is like the ferryman like bodhicitta, and the third one is like the shepherd like bodhicitta. So which one do you think, which of these three types of bodhicitta do you think that we invoke here? Is it the king-like bodhicitta, the ferryman-like bodhicitta, or is it like the shepherd-like? So let's explain these three types of bodhicitta. The first one is the king-like bodhicitta. So in the case of the king-like bodhicitta, the attitude is that myself first, I will reach a state of enlightenment. And once I have reached the state of enlightenment, then I will lead all other sentient beings there, right? So it's very much like, let's say in a worldly situation, you say, let me secure my financial situation first, and then I will help others. Isn't it? Me first, and then I will help everybody else. So this is the king-like. The second one is like the ferryman. And, the term indicates that you get in a boat with a ferryman, right? Rinpoche here gave the example of getting into a car and you have a driver. Okay, obviously someone has to drive the car, but both the driver and the passengers will all arrive at the destination together at the same time. So this is a second type of bodhicitta, like we will all reach the destination together. The last one, which is like a shepherd, it means that the flock goes ahead and you come at the end. So it has the idea that I will help all sentient beings become enlightened first, and I will be the last one to reach the state of enlightenment. So here, actually, with the bodhicitta that we want to invoke is the first one, the king-like bodhicitta. I will become enlightened first, and I will lead, then I will lead all other sentient beings. Mm-hmm. So as you can hear, we have three different types of mind generation. So it's important to reflect on their differences and just consider, which one would be more appropriate for me, which one I'm thinking about, perhaps which is the most important. And also to look the example of previous Buddhas and see how they obtain their enlightenment following which type, having generated which time of mind generation. So not our teacher, but the previous Buddha, Usung, was the one who became enlightened by developing the king-like bodhicitta. Our teacher did it by developing the ferryman-like bodhicitta. And Arya Generizic is one who has the shepherd-like bodhicitta because he has made the vow that he will remain within cyclic existence until each and every sentient being has reached the state of enlightenment. So as you can see, there are preferences there amongst the different Buddhas in terms of which type of bodhicitta they developed. So we continue with the text. Let's read again verse number 9. Without the wisdom realizing the ultimate nature, though you gain familiarity with renunciation and the awakening mind, you will not be able to cut the root of samsaric existence. So strive in the methods for realizing dependent origination. So it says, without the wisdom realizing the ultimate nature. So the wisdom, here this refers to the wisdom realizing emptiness. So from amongst the three principal aspects of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, and correct view, it refers to developing correct view. So it says, without developing correct view, though you gain familiarity with renunciation and the awakening mind, so you might have the other two. You might have renunciation, you might have bodhicitta that are very important, but if you don't have correct view, you will not be able to cut the root of samsaric existence. And therefore, you have to strive in the methods for realizing dependent origination. Here, dependent origination refers to the settled level of dependent origination, which understands that nothing is established from its own side. So we continue with the next verse, verse number 10, where it says, when with respect to all phenomena of samsara and nirvana, you see that the laws of cause and effect never decease. In the first line, we have mention here of samsara and nirvana. So the two extremes, or the two opposites, you could say, not extremes, the two opposites, nirvana referring to non-abiding nirvana. So it says you have to understand that all phenomena within samsara and nirvana, so the whole range of existing phenomena, are within the laws of cause and effect that is never deceiving. within the laws of cause and effect, it means that one gives rise to other. One acts as the cause that generates the other. And therefore, everything is produced by depending upon each other. And we gave the example of over here and over there. Over here and over there are only established in relation to each other. So once you understand that all phenomena are established in this way, it says, when you have dismantled every basis of objectification, it means you understand that nothing is inherently established, but it is merely imputed by the mind, then you have entered the path that pleases the Buddha, meaning then you have entered a path that is unmistaken and will take you for certain to Buddhahood. Then the next verse, so long as the two understandings of appearance, undeceiving dependent origination, and emptiness, the absence of all positions, remain separate, then you have not realized the intent of the sage. So we're talking about two things here. The first one is appearance, and then this is qualified by saying that this is undeceiving dependent origination. So that means that one thing has originated, or it comes into existence by relying upon another thing. And therefore we have the appearance, we have the existence of this phenomenon. So we come back to the example of the mountain over here and the mountain over there. That appear, they exist by depending upon each other. They exist, they originate by relying upon each other. And then the other principle is the principle of emptiness, which is the absence of all positions. Positions here means assertion of inherent existence, right? So we have said that whatever is the entity, that entity exists. However, it does not exist inherently. It does not exist from its own side. So this is the emptiness we are talking about. So it says, for as long as you cannot perceive these things together, so for that long you have not found the intent of the Buddha. So that means that you're at the stage where you say, oh, I can see appearance, I can see over here, over there, I can see things existing. But when I see these, I do not understand the lack of inherent existence. Or when I have a comprehension of the lack of inherent existence, I cannot explain the existence. I cannot explain the appearance. So for as long as these two remain, they are unrelated. So the mountain over here and the mountain over there, you cannot see the connection, the reliance between them. They remain unconnected. For as long as this happens, you have not found the actual intention of the Buddha, of the teaching of the Buddha. Okay, so from verse 11, we have verse 12 that explains that at some point you're not alternating, but at once, the instance you see dependent origination, you see emptiness, right? So then your analysis is complete. Verse 13, furthermore, when appearance dispels the extreme of existence, and when emptiness dispels the extreme of non-existence, and you understand how emptiness arises as cause and effect, you will never be swayed by views grasping at extremes. Okay, so the first part, appearance dispels the extreme of existence. So this, you have the appearance of the object, but you understand that it does not exist, and nothing exists on this object from the side of the object. And you understand that it is something which is merely imputed by the mind. So by having the appearance of the object, you understand it's merely imputed, and that dispels the extreme of thinking exists from its own side. And when the emptiness dispels the extreme of non-existence, emptiness merely says that the object does not inherently exist. However, nominally, conventionally, it still says that the object exists. It affirms that, right? So emptiness dispels the extreme of non-existence. It still says conventionally it exists. So you understand how emptiness arises as cause and effect. So when this happens, you will never fall prey to wrong views, extreme views.
Yes.
We come to the last verse. Once you have thus understood as they are the key points of the three principal elements of the path, the three principal elements, renunciation, bodhicitta, and correct view. So once you have really understood what they are all about, then we see the final words of advice. It says, "O child, seek solitude and enhance the power of diligence." So once you have gained a firm and clear understanding of the three principal aspects of the path, what you need to do is you need to go basically in retreat. And there you have to apply a lot of effort, a lot of diligence. In an isolated place, make further efforts. And in the last line, swiftly accomplish your ultimate aim. So this is the last line of advice. As we know, the three principal aspects of the path was composed as a letter that Lama Tsongkhapa sent to Tsako Nawandrakpa. Okay, so this is the last line of advice. So just as the mother would sort of like encourage the child, and here Lama Tsongkhapa encourages his student and says, you know, you want to accomplish your biggest aim, your final aim, this is how you do it. First you develop correct understanding, and then you go in retreat and put a lot of effort. And you should do it. It's a word of strong encouragement. We come to the end where we have like a postscript, a colophon, where it says, this advice was given by the learned monk Losang Trappa Pel to Nawan Trappa, a member of the ruling family of the Tsako region. So the Tsako region is quite like a mountain area. It's an isolated area close to Gaden province. And as we see here, Nawan Trappa was the son of the ruling family. So we had the local king, the king of Tsako, and Nawan Trappa, the recipient of this advice, the recipient of this letter, was the son of this very influential family. Mm-hmm. So Rinpoche was saying that in this way we have completed here the presentation of the three principal aspects of the path. Rinpoche said, I don't know it very well. I just presented as little as I know to make sure that I comply with the request for this teaching. Okay, so now the important thing to keep in mind is that we keep saying, I am a Buddhist, or this is a Buddhist center, I attend the Buddhist center, and so forth. But the main issue, what is it that makes you a Buddhist or not a Buddhist? As we have said, it does not depend on your family. It is not the case that if your father or your mother or culturally you live in a country where Buddhism is practiced, like by birth you're born a Buddhist. It's not like this. Becoming a Buddhist depends on having a refuge. And so Rinpoche says, make sure that you establish refuge. So as I say, it's very important that we go for refuge. So what does it mean to go for refuge? Going for refuge it means you have a great hope, a great expectation, and great reliance, right? So going for refuge, actually you are seeking protection. So what is it that you are seeking protection from? You're seeking protection from the suffering of the three lower migrations. So this refers to seeking protections from taking rebirth in the hells, hot or cold, in the realm of the hungry ghost, or as an animal. So you have to consider, if I were to end up with this type of rebirth, would I be able to tolerate, would I be able to survive this? We have described the hot hells as places of incredible heat with very large fires. So the whole environment is consumed by fires. Sometimes we see images of a big fire. So imagine if somehow someone were to drop you in the midst of these fires where everything is ablaze. Would you be able to tolerate this? Would we be able to survive this? Obviously not. The second one is the cold health. So imagine here a frigid environment, like sometimes we see this at the top of the mountain. So the ground is totally frozen. From the sky falls snow, and at the same time you have an icy cold blizzard wind, very strong wind, howling around. Okay, so the blizzard, that's an expression that we only use for cold wind, not for hot wind. Like when you turn on the heater and it's on high level, you don't say that you have a blizzard, right? So the blizzard is only for very cold, icy wind. Okay, so you are in this somehow, you arrived in this environment and you are totally naked. There's nothing to protect your body from this cold. And the other thing is that your body is quite large. If you had a small body, like the body of an ant, perhaps you could find a little crevice where you could seek protection from that cold and blizzard. But having a big body, you're totally exposed. So just consider, if I ended up there, would I be able to tolerate this? So this is about the health. And then consider, being born as a hungry ghost, would I be able to tolerate this? Being born as an animal, would I be able to tolerate this? How hard it would be? And the answer to all of this is no, I couldn't. So for that reason, we are turning our attention, we're putting all our hopes and wishes to the three jewels. And we say, I go for refuge to you, the Buddha Dharma, the Buddha jewel, the Dharma jewel, the Sangha jewel, and I'm seeking protection for you. Buddha, you are the teacher. The Dharma is my real protection. The Sangha is my Dharma friends. I'm seeking protection from you. So when you have this attitude that you are terrified of the suffering in samsara in general, but in particular the suffering of the three lower realms, and you put all your trust and faith in the three jewels, then you say you go for refuge, and then you can say you become a Buddhist. So we need to understand here how this protection that we are seeking from the three jewels works. Who is actually protecting us? How we are actually protected? So as we say, we'll begin first of all by mentioning the three jewels. The first one is the Buddha jewel. But the Buddha is the teacher, is the expounder, is the one who teaches the Dharma, will explain things to you. The actual protection, the actual thing that protects you because it stops you from engaging negativity is the Dharma jewel. Okay, in order to practice the Dharma jewel, you need to receive some help. You need to receive some support. And the help and the support we receive comes from the Sangha jewel. All right, so with the help of the Sangha jewel, having heard the teachings of the teacher, the Buddha, we engage into practice. And then in dependence upon the practice that we make, that we do, the effort that we make in our practice, we obtain the state of non-abiding nirvana, the state of complete bliss of Buddhahood, and definitely we avoid falling into the three lower migrations. So this is the way that the three jewels protect us. Okay, you must have a measure of understanding when we talk about this mind of reliance that is needed when we go for refuge. So what is that attitude? What is this mind? What is required here? Anybody to give an answer?
I will try. Thank you, Rinpoche, for your teaching. I would say fearlessness would be my answer, because you would then have to rely completely in the three jewel. So that way, you need to be fearless, to have that strong faith.
Okay, but how are you going to generate that mind of complete faith, of complete reliance? How do you generate it?
Well, I would go through the process of the teachings. I mean, there have been attending teachings, and there have been also a happy state of mind because you are able to let go a lot of the problems. And so I think that generation of strong faith is not instant, but it's growing day by day, day by day. That's how.
Okay. So Rinpoche said I had given you this example before. Okay. So let's say that a person is to be executed, and they have to. There is a procession, and they have to walk a certain distance. So let's say, the execution is going to happen by the sea. Okay. So there is a certain distance from where this person is taken, and they're all walking. And you know that with every step they take, they're getting closer to the sea. When they get to at the sea, this is the point of execution. So as this person is approaching closer to the shore of the sea, you can imagine the great fear, the great anxiety that this person is feeling. They know that that day they are going to lose their life. There are a lot of people who have joined the procession, but let's say the rest of us, we are spectators, and we're just walking towards the sea. We don't have the same level of anxiety. Like, we walk along, we make jokes, we talk with each other, we are relaxed, but the person that is getting with every step closer to the execution is very fearful, is very anxious. And now as he walks along that road, he happens to spot an official with great power, that he knows that this official can exercise his power and save him from losing his life. So what would the person do? The person will go and prostrate at the feet of this official, of this person with power, would almost hug the feet and make a heartfelt request. All his hope is 100% on this person. That's his last hope, right? And he says, please help me. You are the only one who can protect me. Please save my life today. And if you save my life today, I promise that whatever you ask me to do, I will do exactly that. So this example actually shows the intensity and what it means to put all your hope into one person. Okay, so it's like this. We talked about all the suffering of the 3 lower migrations, and when you consider this, right, that great fear, and you're looking for protection, you put all your hope, right, all your expectations into the 3 jewels, and you say, you're the only one who can protect me. Okay, so obviously there are certain things that we promise that we need to abandon in order to be protected. What are those things? Beginning with killing, right? Killing, taking someone else's life, even the life of a very small insect. Do not kill, because killing results in taking rebirth in the lower migrations. The second one is taking what is not given. Taking what is not given means you are stealing. The third one is to abandon telling lies. Lies are, lies is a story that is not in accordance with the truth, is not in accordance with reality. And to tell spin these stories in order to fool other people is something which is extremely negative. So we're talking about the things that we need to abandon, and what we need to abandon is the 10 non-virtuous actions. Let's start the list from the beginning to clarify. First of all, we have 3 related to physical activities. The first one is killing, the second one is stealing, the third one is engaging in inappropriate sexual activities. So 3 related to the body. Then we have 4 related to the speech. The first one is telling lies. We have just explained this. The second one is using divisive speech. Divisive speech is, going in between people and saying some things to one person about the other, then going to the other person, saying things about the first person, so that you cause division where there was harmony before. So that is divisive speech. The third one is using harsh words. Harsh words here is, for example, using derogative or swearing words, saying to someone, oh, you know, you're stupid, you're an idiot, things like this. When the other person hears words like this directed towards themselves, of course they feel quite sad. But the real sad thing is that you create negativity. The negativity stays with you for expressing yourself in this way. The last one, with in terms of the speech, is idle gossip. So talking endlessly about meaningless things that, you know, it's just gossip here and there. Okay, so 3 of the body we have done. Killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, or 4 of the speech, which is lying, divisive speech, harsh words, idle gossip, and the last 3 are the 3 related to the mind. So the first one is covetousness. Covetousness is the attitude of looking around, you know, what does this person have? Oh, I want to have what they have. Okay, covetousness. The second one is harmful intent. Clear enough. And the last one is wrong view. Wrong views here, we're talking about serious wrong views, such as, for example, negating the existence of Dharma. Dharma doesn't exist, the hells do not exist, the Buddha does not exist, and so forth. Okay? So this, all of those together, a list of 10, 3 of the body, 4 of the speech, 3 of the mind, result, those 10 non-virtuous actions result in rebirth in the hells. So these are things to abandon. His Holiness the Dalai Lama often speaks about that, and he says the important thing is to benefit sentient beings as much as you can. And even if you cannot benefit them, at least you must abstain from causing them any harm. So this is my main practice. I advise you to do the same. So this is the essence of our practice. And Rinpoche was saying, I urge you to do this. Try to benefit as much as possible. If you cannot benefit, try not to harm. Do you have any questions?
Yes, Rinpoche, thank you for your wonderful teachings. I have 2 questions. One is the verse 13. Does it refer to the conventional truth and the ultimate truth? And the second question is about the significance of the lotus representing renunciation, the moon disk representing bodhicitta, and the sun disk representing emptiness. Thank you.
So what is your second question? Okay, lotus represents renunciation, the moon bodhicitta, and the sun.
The sun disk representing emptiness.
Wisdom of emptiness. Yeah. So what is the question about this?
What is the significance of this symbolism? Their iconography.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Yes. Let's look at your first question. Yes, this expression. Appearance dispels the extreme of existence, and emptiness dispels the extreme of non-existence, refer to the 2 truths, the conventional truth and the ultimate truth. So the first one, appearance dispels the extreme of existence. What you understand here is you understand that the object or whatever appears does not exist inherently, does not exist from its own side. And this is what allows it to appear. This is what appears to us. With the second one, it says emptiness dispels the extreme of non-existence. When you have a realization of the lack of inherent existence, you have a realization of emptiness. When you talk about emptiness, there is always a basis that is empty. And that basis that is empty must conventionally exist, right? And that is the thing that appears. So your understanding of emptiness dispels the extreme of non-existence because you understand the basis of emptiness conventionally exists. So yes, it refers to the 2 truths. Your other question about the symbolism of the lotus, the moon, and the sun. Yes, it is, as you have mentioned, that is the correlation. But Rinpoche was saying, don't worry too much about the symbolism. What is the most important is try within your mind to cultivate these three principal aspects of the path as much as you can. Try to cultivate renunciation, try to cultivate bodhicitta, and try to cultivate correct realization of emptiness. So okay, the symbolism is there, but don't get stuck in the symbolism.
Vola, so we had an online question. The question is, thank you, Rinpoche, for your precious teaching. There are causes for enlightenment. And can we ask what are the causes for ignorance? Thank you.
Sorry, causes for?
Ignorance.
Sorry, just the sound.
So the question
Okay,
was,
so she's asked,
yeah, she's asking
what are the causes
for ignorance. Yeah, correct.
Okay, so when we talk about ignorance, we're talking about grasping at things existing from their own side. So in our case, everything that appears as if existing from its own side. And the next thing that we do is that we grasp things to exist the way they appear. They appear in a particular way, we grasp them to exist in this way. And then we continue to operate, so we engage in various activities according to this understanding. And all these activities are negative.